Today, I'm really happy to announce that the guest speaker that we have that truly justifies the purpose of our Sunday Talk series. The series, which is designed and drafted in such a way that you guys get the most of it and you get to plan your career ahead in the best way possible. Today's topic is cracking ML interviews at top tier companies, and obviously, who better than someone who has already done it in the past, who comes from a non privileged background and sort of doesn't hold a tag per se, and yet the person has made sure that he's doing the right things at the right times in a right way, and has made it to a great organization. Our guest today started his career as an ML engineer at Bot Minds. Then he moved to Amplis as a data engineer, and currently he's working at Microsoft as data and applied scientist. So please help me welcome uh, Mr. Saurabh Bhagvatula, who happens to be kind enough to spare an hour and a half today on a Sunday morning with us. So, welcome, Saurabh. And before we begin, I would love to hear from you. If you could let us know how you would like to be known, and uh, if you could just give your introduction on your own.
Yeah, thank you so much, Aditya, for the warm welcome. And for me, like my introduction being like I'm currently being with Microsoft for I think almost 3 years, and I am as an ML engineer, like ML engineer building the systems around the data and the ML and taking to production. Prior to that, I think couple of years spent in the startups. So that's pretty much. And apart from that, I think just love playing with technologies and seeing it around how things are evolving. So yeah, I think that's pretty much about my professional journey, maybe.
Got it. Got it. So, without wasting time, I think some of the viewers have asked a few frequent questions, and which is a very generic one. But I'll just broaden it up further, which is like why Mang and other such top tier companies are so difficult. So that is one question that we keep getting again and again and again. And the people who have made it into these companies, they keep reiterating the fact that it's not. It's just the approach which is wrong. And I think we've also spoken about it before this session. So I would love you to throw some light on whether it's tough or what is the perspective and what is the difference between the perspective and the actual ground reality.
So let me share. I think the two aspects of it. One is getting your application to getting an interview call, and the second is after the interview call. So getting an interview, see the if you say the any of the selection like from the application to the interview rate, I think that should be itself should be very less, because there should be a lot of filters. And if you go to a Google or Microsoft or any of these tiers website, when they want to hire 100 people, they will get an application of a lakh or 10. So they need it's not truly justified, but they need some filtering criteria, so they do apply. So you need to work on that part. So, and if you see, even referrals won't work at many times, even if you are lucky enough to get it in. So you need to be really good enough, like you need to do something good with your LinkedIn. You need to reach out, you need to build your second network well. I mean, second network well, you should be connected to the either recruiters or the engineers or the hiring managers at those places. So when those guys post, hey, we are looking for someone like that, you should be getting notified and you should be able to reach out to them. Or if you build your second degree network right when these peoples are there, so whenever they search for a particular keywords, they can find you. Hey, this guy is relevant, maybe I should reach out. That's how I think LinkedIn plays one important role. And coming to the second part, tracking the interview, Lead code or the coding interview are the necessary evils. You need to get them right. So you need to I think you need to have the lead code medium level question under your belt, and you should able to there are I might not be the very best person to say how to crack those coding interviews, but there are ample of free resources out there. There are good people who have talked about it. I think Gaurav Singh is one. I think he constantly talks on it. So, and I think there are few folks, but there are junk of noise as well. People are just keep selling, "Hey, we will you crack." But yeah, there are free resources out there you can refer. But yeah, I think lead code medium is something you should have under your belt to get that. Yeah, on a high level, I think that is how process works. But yeah, there is some stringent criteria based on some few things are there.
Mhm. Got it. So I think really well explained. I think on a broader level, we know for a fact that this categorizes into two parts, which is getting an interview call, and second is getting an offer. And that is, something that I would love to deep dive into. But let's roll back a little bit. Before even all of that happens, as a person, as a developer, as a coder, if I have to, even think of applying to these organizations, what do you think are the core skill sets as a prerequisite that I should develop in myself? Uh, as specifically talking about ML, because that happens to be a forte, or data science. As someone who wants to join as a data scientist, ML AI, which is the next buzzword which everybody loves to use. So if I am targeting these futuristic roles, what are the prerequisites that I need to have in order to do that?
Which level are you interested in? Because that makes a lot of difference.
All right.
Yeah, I'm just asking, what is our audience like? Is it an intermediate level, or is it senior folks, or someone joining just right out of the college? Maybe if
Yeah.
we have
So
some.
let's consider our audience to be somewhere in the range of 2 to 5 years of experience range. Someone who can't be considered as fresher, and yet they are yet to enter the career uh, properly.
See, 2 to 5 years is started being considered mid level to senior level, mid to mid senior. You are not junior anymore. You don't need to. So if I break down a level, I'll just give some I think checkpoint. The beginner level is you know the fundamentals. I'm not saying about a particular language or something, but you know the fundamentals. If I told you go and write that particular part of feature, or if I guide you, hey, this is how you should write, you should able to google it out, you should able to figure it out, and I'll give you very clear this needs to be done. With a little hand holding you can go and execute it. A little higher up I tell you, hey, this needs to be done, and I don't guide you, but it will be very clear what needs to be done, and you should be able to independently execute it. Going further, ambiguity increases. I'll just give you the problem. Hey, this is the problem that needs to be solved. Maybe let's say build a Facebook. Just a very hypothetical example. It's a very big thing, but let's say build a recommendation system. Just giving a notification system may be very simple. A notification system. Whenever someone posts something, my friend posts something, I should be notified. So that is a very big example, but let's just assume for the time being it's a small feature, maybe something. So I should able to figure out what needs to be do, what are the ambiguity around it, what are the unknowns. I should able to get them. What are the trade-offs I have to be take, and I should be able to execute it. So this is a little hierarchy, a little hierarchy of the checkpoints, how people grow in the career. So talking about the mid-level, I think they should be able to independently execute. So in their resume, they should show. Maybe in their current role, they are not delivering it, but through open source contribution, or through some public available data set. Let's say if you're talking about the ML, so there are publicly, I think, a lot of data is available. Don't just go to the Kaggle and you say you're ranked XYZ in this particular competition or you are standing here. That doesn't work. It is something I at least expect you come in. I give you a at least I define the problem statement for you. You will able to execute it. At least that level I want you to come in. If you are having a two, if you're saying you are a 2+ years of experience,
Mhm.
so that's how I think you should build up. See, if you have an opportunity at your organization, at your current team, go pursue it. Get better, build your skill set. Like skill set varies like from engineering, data science. It's not just about tools. It's about understand. You should understand the fundament, the things you studied in the theory. You should understand those having a practical sense how those stuffs actually work in the thing. Let's say if you're saying decision tree, so you should go and implement, have an opportunity to put a decision tree based algorithm in place, have a model which is based on decision tree. Or if you're saying a neural net, you should train a neural network to see how it works, what are the flaws, what works, what doesn't work. So you should have the practical sense of those stuff. Programming language or particular specific tool may or may not come into the picture based on the needs of the team. But more generally, that will exact or deep down tools at times will be discounted. But if you have a practical sense of it and if you can execute independently, so I would recommend going to. There are a lot of open source project with issues open around it. Maybe going checking that out, or if there are open data set, trying it out and building something on own that can showcase, hey, this guy has a capability to take the problem and solve it.
Got it. Got it. I think that's very commonly reiterated, and every senior folk that I have spoken to, everybody reiterates the same thing: the fundamentals. It's written in big bold words, and yeah, so that's something which is extremely stressed upon. And when we say fundamentals, you mean to say that a person should be independently able to do stuff, or how is it? I mean, I just wanted to understand the definition of that.
Yeah, like let's say I may talk about a little bit of software engineering because some of them can make a more sense of it. So if say you have studied the cache, you always studied the cache, or the cache has been used in the system, or you studied the database. Go take a project, use them, so you know what exactly works, the fundamentals. So you just don't need to know the theory well. You should have the practical sense of it. What challenges come when I use that? Or if you're going, like I explained before, if you're for ML engineering, ML stuff, you are going to say. So I say you have a decision tree, right? The binary tree, or not, sorry, decision tree or neural network or SVM or any sort of the all these algorithms. So what exactly happened when you go and try to train it? So then when you see some challenges, you read more about that. Hey, why particular thing is happening? So you understand the practical sense of those theories, how those things happen. So you need to understand. So if you need to build, and need not necessary maybe practical, fundamental as in you try to execute something end to end. Maybe I'll take a data set, I build something on top of it and see a model to do something. Maybe I'll take a data set of the images and predict the numbers in it, like the classical thing. Just that's a toy example, but don't rely on that. But yeah, build something complex or something which is do something original. Maybe go to the GitHub, there are open source projects, serving projects, see what are their issue, uh, take one of it, try to solve it, raise a pull request and get it merged. So in the whole, for you understand the entire life cycle. So I want someone who understand the life cycle as well, from start to end, what exactly happened. And build a breadth first, not don't go into the depth early in the career until you reach the senior level. My take is build the breadth, and then as you build the breadth, you figure out what is your interest, and then you can think about which depth I want to see. But you should build a practical sense of the stuffs you're working with, and you should have a life cycle understanding. Like this is the start, this is the end of the whole flow process.
Okay, I understood. The reason I asked you that question is because there are so many courses available online. People mostly expect that I'll do this, I'll do that. 8 hour session and 10 hour course, and I'll be able to do it. So when we talk about fundamentals, is it that, or I think you
No,
have
no, no,
well
no.
justified that that is prerequisite, and then the more important part is the entire life cycle experience that you should have.
You should have a license. Go open a like for the ML model. Go open a Jupyter notebook, load a data set, build a ML model, split the data set, train on the train set, validate on the test set, plot the error graph, see what happens, reiterate it the whole process, see, analyze the error, analyze everything. So that is what you need to. Those are just theories. What someone is saying, maybe someone is saying with one particular example.
Mhm.
Okay, those are available on the Kaggle, and a lot of open sources are there. There are just theories books written, so those courses will only can take you to a level which with your effort, but you need to have a life cycle experience. A toy project won't work like, you have done this, we ask you to do XYZ, and to maybe, if I say a little technical term, scikit-learn is a known library. It's not a panda, scikit-learn, numpy. It's not just about knowing to use them, but taking a data set or taking a problem which needs to be solved. Maybe are detecting a number from an image, which number is it in the image, and taking the data set, cleaning, doing what is required to clean up that data set, maybe for the text, all the normalization and all come in, and then pre-processing your inputs, then doing whatever is required, or your ML modeling. So maybe you need to do model, you need to analyze the model result, or all the stuffs you need to do, and then see the final result. So
Mhm.
that's how an entire data science flow looks like. So go through that. Or if you're into a software engineering, you want to build a maybe a front end app, go see what needs to design, what needs to be build build us all the UI part with React or whatever, React, ASP, Spring, whatever, and then build a backend API. Maybe if you even interested, build your own API and see it, and try to deploy local host or into a server and see something is working. Maybe design your personal website, maybe. So that all those things will give you those ideas. So if you get it opportunity with your organization, that's well and good. Go excel at it. If you're not getting that, you can explore the open source. There are open source always out there. There are a lot of open source, and big ticket big high profile open source projects are there.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks a lot. I think you have given step by step process of how to begin and how to properly go about the process. Uh, now that we have this prerequisite out of the way, now people understand that it's going to be a time taking affair. You can't just aspire to be there without this preparation, which is at least going to take a few months of time before you even start applying to these jobs.
Hmm.
So, all right. So, let's touch a small topic, which is DS Algo. A lot of people I have spoken to, and the questions that we have received, some of them contain this question that DS Algo, is it used in real life? So that is something which is ignored and not focused upon, and a lot of I think 90% of the folks kind of don't take it very seriously early on. Later they might realize, but yeah, that's one big question that comes. Is DS algo something that has application in real life?
If you ask application in real life, I would say yes, but there are facets to it. Are those questions doable? If I see for the there are questions, if I see for the first time, and there are things I need to know. There are some coding patterns I need to know.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I cannot solve that on a first go in 20 minutes. So that is the one thing. Are they applicable in real life? Yes. You have heard try, you have heard hash map, whatever data structure you have heard of. Like, are you going to use it regularly? No.
Mhm.
But are could you be possible you are getting to use almost of them? Yes, except few who, I think most of the, I think the basic data structure like hash map, hash set, try, they come in like currently I am with Bing, and whenever you see a suggestions, right? Whenever you go even in the Google search, you start typing it, every character by character, and you start getting suggestion. Uh, there is there should be some fast lookup. So there they have in the memory they load a very big or heavy tries. So that's come out. For a faster lookup, you need hash map or hashing data structure. So that also comes up. So yeah, those have application, but that is different. And for interview purpose, it's entirely different. For interview, there are some standard coding pattern, some set of way to guide through you. So with that flow, I think you can approach. But yeah, that is how my take is. For interview, you need to be prepared to answer those coding question in 20 minutes. It's a 45 minutes of 1 hour coding interviews, and it normally contains two medium questions from the lead code medium level. So that's where you need to put that skill under your belt. That is one. And in the real life, they have a different scenarios and different use case. You might not come with across them every other day, but you can come across them.
Got it. Got it. Really, I mean, great insights. Specifically because this is more about the interviews. So obviously, people have to be prepared with DS Algo, as you just mentioned, but it's going to be very different when we apply it. So got that.
And
So
yes,
now,
just to add one more point, if you know DS Algo on a day-to-day basis, when you write code or in end of the day you have to write code. So you will think about all the optimization and you will write a better code. You don't just put in junk. You will spend a little because of this. You built in the practice of it. So
Mhm.
that's how it is.
All right. So I think the quality of overall your overall code itself goes up if you are
Huh.
good. Got it. All right. So now I think when prep level conversation is concerned, I think we are done with it. Now let's move on to the interview side of it. So before we go to what are the do's and don'ts, I would really love to understand from you how your journey was with Microsoft and how you prepared for it. And
Yeah. So when
you said
hello.
very early on.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Aditya, actually, I missed you. Some lag was there. Can you
okay,
please
okay,
repeat?
okay. No worries. So the thing is, before this session, we did briefly speak about your confidence about cracking the Microsoft interview. And I'm sure that must have been backed up by preparation and the kind of awareness that you had about their interview process. So, how did you start, and how did you go about the entire process? What was your experience of interviewing at Microsoft?
To be honest, I never applied at Microsoft.
Okay.
Out of, I had something else in my mind.
Hmm.
A couple of recruiters reached out to me saying, "Hey, we have this particular type of role, this particular type of team. Do you want to interview?" I said yes. In a week's time, they scheduled my interview and everything, and followed that. I think 2 days down the line, I received the offer. So that's like offer as in the confirmation. Final offer takes some background and all, but final confirmation within 2 days of the interview, I received it. So that is what happens at the Microsoft. But why? Maybe I'll talk a more of a background. Like I never had in mind of going to a top company. Maybe I had more of inclined for startups and build stuffs. But one challenge I was facing was the startups don't have the resources not in terms of some, they don't have the basic, but highly intensive resources, best of the class resources of the world. And the core of a ML engineer, the data which an ML engineer can have, the models which an ML engineer can see, can deploy to a scale. So wanted to work on that skill, and I know only big tech are there. I had other companies in my mind because there I have seen things happening. Not want to mention any name as such, but yeah, those were in my mind while going through the process. I think with those companies, and I think with the from Microsoft, when I heard that it was the exact opportunity I was looking for. So I said yes. I was prepared for DSL Go. I think I knew it, so I was quite prepared. I think for DSL Go round, ML round, and I think yeah, it just went smooth. It was like, but yeah, before Microsoft interview, I have given like the tens and twenties of interviews. I failed in many of them,
Mhm.
like most of them, not many, but I think if I given 20 interviews, 17 I failed. But
Okay.
not just I failed to crack the interview, I had a feedback coming in. So, and it's just a sales funnel. Any interview process is a sales. You apply to 100 jobs, you interview for 30, uh, and you go to the file, you give all the interview rounds in 7 or 8, you get an offer from 2 or 3. I
Got it.
Yeah, and in the process, like practicing in silos is one thing, and giving mock is one thing, but giving a real interview is other.
Mhm.
The stress is real, the consciousness is real. So when that happened, I learned a lot of things, and there are some behavioral questions, there are some project related questions. That was lag because of some skill, something I didn't know earlier. So I have done that maybe not very right way. My interviews used to ask me. I had a very solid preparation for that question. By the time I give the Microsoft interview, and my hiring manager asked me the same question, and I have the answer. I have it prepared. So while you're interviewing, keep preparing. Keep doing the interview even when you're not prepared. Because it's your preparation.
Okay. Got it.
So I think that's how the process looks like. And yeah, why my I get call from Microsoft is my LinkedIn was superb.
Mhm.
Like I just built a very strong second degree network. I constantly analyzing what are the keywords my profile is being searched for, who are searching it. I used to optimize all I think whatever the sections of the LinkedIn. I keep engaging with the relevant people, following people, writing relevant thing. So all these things, just I think you need to tailor the algorithm. That takes time, and you need to ensure right recruiter finds you, and you can leave the last 10% to luck, obviously.
Okay. So I think that was going to be my question also. Is there any role of luck? So
So
I think you answered
yes,
that there is quite some part of luck that it has to play out, and but we have to increase our chances.
uh,
Uh, the odds, which could be somewhere in decimals, we can at least make it double digit. That's the max we can get, I think.
you can see even doing a coding interview. There also it involves a luck, but
Mhm.
you cannot rely on that. It might not be your day. It might be a question you haven't seen, or it might be something you can, like, not every question everyone can solve.
Mhm.
In So, and if it's a question and something depends on the mood of the interviewer on that day, maybe he's having a rough, he or she is having a rough day or something.
Mhm.
So with all those things in being, you cannot leave practicing. You should be at your best. So
Mhm.
that's what you can do. And whenever you fail in an interview, don't just leave it out of your luck. Go analyze it. What I did right, what I did wrong, what I could have done, what I missed, and why I missed.
Mhm.
And practice it. Make practice that in that time setting, and see how you thought. How would you approach it next time? So I think with that, I think you're just increasing your odd, because if you say I'm going to get 100 meter, it doesn't happen by magic. Over iteration, you improve, and next time when the same thing comes in, you know what to do. So I think that's the way. I focus on getting more. I think if I'll go back and I have to find a new role and something, I go back and ensure I have how I can get a more interview calls. Way how I can give all the interviews with the whenever I get into company, how I can go, like I will have an ML round, I will have a system design round, I will have coding round. So I'm talking about at my level, that's a senior level or something. But yeah, I would say I would go into more. I would expose myself to more to those, so that over I think next few months I would have a role, next role with me.
Got it. I think that's a blunder that a lot of people make. I think a lot of people make. When you said funnel, people are not mindful about that funnel that they are creating. And when they have already, given the first level of interviews, they do not analyze where they went wrong, and they don't revisit what questions they did wrong and improve on those questions. So I think it's a time taking affair, but definitely very promising and very rewarding kind of an activity that can eventually lead you to being where you want to be.
Yeah, just to add, interviewing, like from starting to getting a role, all the way, everything that comes from interviewing and applying and everything, that is an equivalent to a full-time job. So you cannot discount it. It takes a hard work.
Hmm.
It's a stressful thing.
Got it. Got it. I think people have to be mentally prepared to sort of equally work on both the things if they really want to uh, have that kind of a jump in their career. So let's say there are certain people who, I mean, I really want you to expand on that LinkedIn part, but let's do it sometime later because that's one thing that I would want people to remember. Uh, let's now think of an ideal journey of a candidate. Let's say I have been working at a service company or a product company, and as you said, there are multiple advantages of working at these top tier companies, for example, MAANG and Microsoft, where you get access to these resources. So if I am trying to access those kind of resources without those resources, so how do I plan and how do I start with all of that? And let's give it point by point steps, specifically for an ML engineer or a data engineer or a data scientist who's aspiring to get there.
I didn't 100% understand your question, Aditya. Like trying to get those resources without those resources. You mean
Right.
trying to get into those companies, into those roles when you are outsider? Like you're getting into the Microsoft from a startup or a service-based company against getting into a Microsoft from Facebook or Google. Is it what your question is?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I don't have that kind of resources, but the expectations are going to be that I'm going to be good at all of that. So, you
You
know,
want to be good at all of that, build stuffs at all that scale without being into those companies. Is it what you are asking?
yes, yes.
That's a hard thing actually, to be honest. See, in the startups or in a mid-tech, a mid-sized company, you get to build things from the scratch.
Hmm.
So that control, I think you have. I don't have much idea with service-based company what exactly happens there.
Hmm.
As far as I knew, I think they work with a
Let's then address the product
tools.
folks then.
Huh. Quite extensively, they work with one or two languages or a few tools, I think. So I think they need to build up the foundational skills, right? Like I mentioned earlier, you need to know the life cycle flow. Like go to the open source projects, do those, have it in your resume, your personal or open source contributions, what you've done. So it's not just about, or maybe after 7 or 10 years of experience, you will come as an SD1, and if that is fine for you, I think that's okay. Maybe you can go inside it. That's always the thing. People do switch, and that's fine. Yeah, I know people with 7 8 years of experience joining at SD1 level, and I think if you cannot manage to do those life cycle projects and explain,
Hmm.
so basically, it's an intent. Early in the career, you come in as an intent. Later in your career, you are as an expert or as a guide, not just an expert, or as a guiding force. Like you can guide the team, or you can guide through unknowns. That is later in your career. Early in career is your intent. So that is what it defines. But yeah, I'm not sure. So you need to work on yourself and build your skills on your own. Use all the open source out there. Everything you see out there, from everything you can see out there, there is an equivalent alternative built inside those companies, which people are using exclusively within those companies. That's just any, you're saying you're saying the Redis cache, there is an equivalent exists in the Microsoft, in the Google, in the Facebook. You are saying the data MySQL database, there is an equivalent there. You are saying any particular, you are saying any particular service, any particular specific type of a machine learning a library, there is an equivalent here as well. So that is what I would say. um, you need to work on your, just get to it. I don't think there is some shortcut or anything which can bypass the access, because if you want to build stuff at that scale without access to those resources, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it can be built. But yeah, there is a downside as well. You get to work on very finite scope here. Your scope, not you will do something from end to end. So for yeah, I think that is something I can
Got
share.
it.
That
Good. All right. Now, people who are, I mean, this is before we get to the LinkedIn bit, just wanted to understand from you, how do things look like from inside when it comes to ML and AI? How, I mean, we briefly spoke before this call about how wide machine learning domain is, and people just want, just sometimes generically mention that I want to get into machine learning, but there are tons of things that you can do in there, and you have to be very specific with your plan. So that's one question that I had in my mind, that how does, what are the types, and how does one assess, of course by experimenting, but what is your best way to do it, and if you have anything to add to this.
Yeah, so maybe I'll just share an analogy, like a live example have happened, something around Chat GPT. I will share a story around it, and maybe people could relate to it. And I'll just formalize it a bit as well. So let's say you are seeing Chat GPT now. Let's say even either Bard, Microsoft Chat, Microsoft Bing Chat, or the Chat GPT is their own website. So in one side you can see those websites. You are just playing with the website, and there is a, obviously there is a sophisticated software engineering backend working with them, with all of these. That is one stream. And the other stream is you will have a data science or data engineering, all these applied science stuffs happening. And but before any of these happen, any of these are being built, we have a transformer model by the Google in 2016. So transformer model was there, which is the source which is being used for all of these doing generative AI stuff. So and but I'm not going into that research. That's a research domain that researchers do. I am pretty, most of the people don't want to get into those research. So mostly people in the applied space. So applied space, other extreme of it is applied science, where what they do is they take an ML existing ML models. What are the ML architecture, neural network architecture, or whatever the architecture out there, whatever the data out there, what are the data I have. So yeah, that's I think a data. But before that, I think there comes a data engineering as well. So they have to collect the data from various sources. So I'm not talking about small like 1,000, 10,000, or something which someone can do, every data scientist do, and scrape it and use it. It happens in a billions of the scale. So we need dedicated data engineering team that actually crawls the data from all the sources and build a database or a data warehouse which data scientist can query and get those data and work with those data. So to enable those data scientists, so data scientists or applied scientists, however the name you might want it would be. So, but yeah, basically build those data science stuffs. So on data science, play with model, play with data, do all the analytics, all the iteration. and they build the, I think basically the model that works offline. We're still not going to a place where you can serve into those big real time stuffs. So that is what the data scientist role is, applied science role is. Okay, I'll build a particular model that if you give this particular text as an input, this model will give this particular text as an output, and he'll say nine with some metric, single value, or the whatever the metric is, it's 99% or 98% it is working correctly. So that is what a data scientist job is. Now putting that model into a production which serves a real user, there exist ML engineers. They understand the applied science stuff, how model works. They understand the software engineering, and they design the services in such a way, utilizing the stuffs so that those can be transformed. Like can this is my role as well. If you say so, whether we use streaming service, whether we package the model based on into the client's library itself, what a client has in the web or the mobile app or web app, as a package, offline training, or if we host it as a service, or we use a or it's a, is it a real, or do we uh, query the model like some of the data every day and store it in a cache or database, and every day maybe some hour of the day, and it's a static data that's also, it's a daily. So there are multiple strategies in between, and there are a lot of engineering happen. So how the, let's say LLM, you are inferencing an LLM, that takes how much time to retrain it take, and then building the pipeline to log those whatever the requests are coming in. I need to log those so my data scientist can see, observe those if so, and then there comes a one, this is a very interesting thing. In software engineering, you have zero and one. Here you don't have a zero and one. Your models start to degrade over the time, and you need to retrain your model to again make it uh, equal to the production. So that is a continuous exercise. So all of these things, this is where ML engineers come in. What all these do, and to support ML engineers and data scientists, when you start scaling up, you need an ML platform team. The first time Uber comes up with it, they have designed a Michelle or Michigan, something like that. They named it. Just give me a minute. I'll just tell you the exact name.
That's okay. I mean, let's.
Michelegon, Michelego, Michelelango, Michelego. So that they have built entire data store, ML store, feature store. Like feature store comes in. Like if some other team has built a particular feature, why should I go and compute it and build all the feature? Why don't I just reuse it? So that's a shared common platform which enables the ML engineer and data scientist. So there's the ML platform that supports these two, and here data engineers that build the data for the data scientists, and ML engineers then gives the service which a client, web AP, a backend team, and also software engineering and the web team, front end team can use, and that's how the whole life cycle, the journey be like. So I hope I could help here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you have very in very detailed. You have named what all processes. What is the breadth of machine learning? And if I want to, let's say, I mean, based on your expertise and the fields that you take care of, uh, if someone just generically says, "I want to be a machine learning engineer," how do I identify where do I belong in this entire process? If somebody has, I mean, some obvious things can be, for example, you just gave an example that in 2016 the model itself was created. Now it's just repackaged and reused here and there and for commercial and production purposes. So when it comes to that, uh, how does one, make sure that where do they belong, and how does one identify where do they belong and what to pick up from the future perspective?
I think there are two ways. If you know, like if you have a love for the data and playing with the data and all the analytics and all, if you are for sure for that, go for applied science. If you want, if you have an interest for apply ML, but you are not liking the data as such, and you are more inclined to engineering. You like engineer, you have an inclination for engineering, and you like understanding what ML be like. It's an ML engineer role. That's a space. If you don't know and want in the space, just try it out. Multiple stuffs like applied science, ML engineering. But yeah, ML engineering is more like productionizing in a build ML model. So just not like that. But yeah, it's I think the separation is, this is what the separation I have explored it out over the years and heard from some of the very good experts. But the point being, it just very, the line is very dotted. It's not very fine line. So you just need to play around the spaces and see what works for you. Maybe you can team one
Okay, so hit and trial is the way to go. So guys, just I
out.
mean, you may have to experiment as much as you can.
Early in career, it's always good to get the breadth of it. So you are cross functional, you understand what happens at the, even if you're interested in one, and if you know the work in other, you know what challenges are there, so you can do your work better.
Hmm, got it. Got it. All right. Now let's come back to the part where we strategize for these roles. And LinkedIn is something which you are very big on, and you have insisted that we add this section because I think that's where a lot of people are lagging as well. They, I mean, a lot of folks uh, have their resume also kind of outdated, and LinkedIn is a far-fetched dream for them. But should there be someone who wants to actively work on their LinkedIn, how do they start? You've told me about connections, but how do I find such people, right people who I can connect with? What kind of content should go out, and what kind of optimizations that you did, which they can probably adopt and improve their LinkedIn profiles?
Maybe I'll just walk through my journey, like how I did it, approach it. So what I did is, I know what I want to do. So I don't know exact role, but I know what roles could be. So what I did is, I go to Amazon, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, all of their website, find out the job roles and see what are the job requirements there are. And I check all the roles, like from the initial early entry level to the senior level. I actually get through them and I make a gist of it. So, and with that gist, I use the keywords written there based on my profile into my about section.
Okay.
And I don't create a fancy big headline. It should be simple enough, but it should be enough for if I recruiters come and if I search it, only headline will become. It should be compelling enough to say, hey, this guy has either intent or an experience what I'm looking for. Let's go and check out his profile.
Hmm.
So that is the thing you should do based on those keywords. So you just need to first span out the keyword. Maybe it's not an ideal thing. It's very tricky stuff to do, but you have to do that. All
Okay.
the stuff. So that's how you make, and just go and fill in all your experiences. Don't leave it blank.
Hmm.
Go fill in your experiences, go fill in your projects, go do it, like complete your profile. It should be 100%. Have a very decent background, decent photo, like a professional photo with 60-70% your face in it. So that's, I think, you can start. And I think you can, in the feature section, I think if you are looking for ML or software engineering, I think you should add your GitHub profile as well. And yeah, GitHub profile and resume in your features. Maybe you can add it out. So these are the few things, and but yeah, these are just the fundamentals. What you should be. This is a bare minimum. I'm not saying this will get you anywhere, but this is a bare minimum which sets your profile right. And you need to keep doing this whole exercise, I think, every 2-3 months, based on where you are, how you update, maybe make your resume right, and just put all the keywords and everything is right. Once you do that, Go and connect with the people you want to be in connection with. Let's say I want to get into Facebook. I'll start connecting with software engineers at Facebook. That's the easiest thing for me to do. Like daily I'll start sending 100 requests or 30, whatever it might be. This is what I was doing daily. I was sending the 50 odd 30 40 odd requests to software engineers and the recruiters and engineering managers at those companies. That's how I started with. That's blunt I started. So and start sending, and over a period, over a few months, some accept, some don't accept. But yeah, your network start to concentrate on those sides. So you over a period, okay, that is first row. Okay, so what happens is when those people are in, you get notified for there. In your feed, you will get if someone is hiring. Second
Mhm.
is recruiter go and search in the Google, sorry, LinkedIn.
Mhm.
Some keywords they search. And if you're in their second degree network,
Mhm.
second degree network of recruiter, because recruiter might not be connected to you, but recruiter is connected to the engineering manager or software engineer or the recruiter who you are connected to. So
Yeah,
there is your chances of getting into their search is higher. You're increasing those probabilities.
brilliant. Yeah.
That is what you can do. Second, so I talk about engine. You can see the post. You can your recruiter can search you. Huh. Third thing is the keywords. In your LinkedIn, you weekly get the keywords you are search for and the audience which searches you. You need to be very conscious of those. Don't. What are the keywords you want yourself to be? Just think about.
Mhm.
You have a job description now, and you have your stuffs around, your background around how you what keywords you want to be searched of.
Mhm.
So you need to be engaged in those. Just go and search the post related to those. Let's say machine learning. Go and search, read few posts, or follow the people who post around it, and try to add a value. Don't just write for the sake of writing. Add something valuable, or maybe if you can create some posts around those stuffs, just create it. Or I'll say just write some comments or add some valuable inputs into the post with the people who have a high follower, because it increases your landscape of reach.
Mhm.
So I think that's basically end of the day. The thing is you have to build your second degree network, right? These are all strategies to do that. And
Mhm.
end goal is you should be searchable, or if someone is asking or putting up a post for you, you should be there and you should be reachable by them. And even more, use in-mails well. If you find someone who can help you out, if you find an engineering manager who is hiring, don't just go to someone has posted, hey, we are hiring for XYZ role. Don't just go and post it, I'm interested.
Yeah.
That sense out of nothing. It's
Mhm.
of nothing. uh, Go write a personalized email. Hey, I am this. This is my experience. I found your LinkedIn post. I'm interested. Yeah, just write this small message. Don't write a bulky message. No one want to read. Just write three paragraphs. I think each paragraph 2 lines, maybe not more than 8 line. So for 7 or 8 line, don't write more than 7 or 8 line. Just very direct. Show your intent, why you are eligible. You just write it out. And I think yeah, that's how I think if you can use a LinkedIn, right? And yeah, make sure while you are doing this, you don't ignore other platforms as well, like Naukri, Insta Hire. Just keep it up. Just keep it active, but don't expect out of there. But most connection happens over the LinkedIn. I think that's
Right.
should see it around.
All right. So I think gem of suggestions, and I think that's what we have uh, gotten in the last 5 minutes for LinkedIn. Uh, First being obviously the profile that has to be absolutely top notch and should show good intent and experience with the right keywords which are searchable. Now your profile is ready. Second, I think what people can do is connect with the right sets of people who, if they are looking, these people should be, should be able to get in touch with you immediately. And then I think you have also suggested to stay active on other platforms as well. So great. Also, I think one thing we that we I wanted to ask: do these posts? people I am seeing nowadays, they're posting a lot of stuff that I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that. Did you do somewhat like that? I mean,
Like I'm looking for new role. That is what you are saying.
or maybe just to improve their visibility, this random posts that they are sharing, does it
I didn't
help in
understand what
reaching
exactly. Can you share
new
an
people?
example? Maybe anonymously, you can, without naming, you can share exact examples so I can relate. I don't understand.
All right, I think my network was a little weak. Yeah,
Maybe.
okay.
Oh.
So the only question was that does writing regular posts, random people posting random stuff, does it help you reach the right audience, or just profile optimization is sufficient?
Profile optimization, and don't do random. If you want to post or if you want to add comment, do relevant. Like if you find someone having high following base has posted something, you have something really insightful to say, or if you can add, you can search it out and add some important stuffs around that. Just
Mhm.
put it because it will give you a landscape. It's a good space for a landscape.
Mhm.
If you want followers, not followers but connections basically.
So you will be a subject matter expert if you are sharing your thoughts and they are kind of relevant and
But
add
don't do just doing for the sake of doing, or do it relevantly
a lot of
and do
people
it in a confined, maybe do it in in a feed or a post where it's visible, so do it there. Just don't. Okay, so I think what I did at that time, I remember, is I put up a 30 days of ML. 30 days of ML. At today it's more available, but at that time those did information was not available what ML is from start to end. So
do.
compute, getting all the concepts, ML algorithm, data science workflow, ML engineering, and the process, everything I stitched together and put it into a 30-day series of course. So that is something that worked for me at that time. So that is just a way to show your knowledge.
But
Uh,
your strategy worked, and a lot of people they don't actually work. Why it worked? Because you have amazing reach now. I can see at least 150 200 likes and reactions on your posts and so many comments there. So I think it definitely helped, but keeping your key points is very important, being relevant, and then having things planned and in perspective. Not mindless posting is going to help you, but rather a proper planned approach to it might help you out.
and just one more thing, trust the process. Things will take time.
Okay. I wish we had more time with you. So, are there any parting words apart from what you've just said? These are great words to end with, by the way. But still, your thoughts, if you want to summarize.
I would want to summarize. I would say this is what I have done, and I would also say people build a breadth early in the career. Try breadth. Don't become stick to one thing. Go different teams. Go different products. Go different technologies. Explore early in the career, and then exploit later in the career.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I think that's pretty clear with we have reiterated that thing again and again, and I think that should be very clear with our audience as well. That if you want to get into ML, it's not going to be a short-term thing. Uh, you have to spend significant amount of time. It's going to be almost like a second job, and yeah, trust the process, and things will pan out the way you want. Sorry. I really want to thank you, Saurabh, for doing this. This was absolutely wonderful. I mean, I was not expecting so many great insights for our audience, specifically uh, because you specialize in ML, and that's the only thing that I was expecting, that you would be shedding a lot of light on that. But I think overall, holistically, people are going to benefit from it, be it ML or just general software engineering folks or IT folks, service folks, whatever it is. People are definitely going to make the most of it. We are going to go, live with this recording of this session as well, maybe on Monday or Tuesday, whenever the process is done. And Thank you so much for sparing this 1 hour time on your Sunday morning.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
thank you so much for having me. Like a great time, having great time discussing this.
Likewise, likewise, sir.
Thank you.
And thank you everybody who has attended today's session.